Hi, my name is Paul Taylor and I'm the founder of Alkoomi. Over the last 20 years, Alkoomi has built a powerful reputation for supporting clients in delivering extraordinary results. I have to say, predominantly in safety and well-being, but also in many of the other areas of performance, such as bottom line results, quality, environment, community relationships, etc. And in these series of talks, we want to share some of the insights from those last 20 years with you. My objective for today is to give an overview of the lessons learned in an attempt to whet your appetite to watch more talks in the coming years. The good news is that I'm not going to be delivering all those talks. What I am going to talk about for the next 10 minutes or so are some of the broader lessons. In the subsequent talks, we are going to expand these lessons and share some more insights in more detail. Why are we doing this? Alkoomi are committed first and foremost to the well-being and happiness of people. One of the biggest influences on people's happiness and well-being is their experience of how they feel they're treated in their place of work. Also, it makes inordinate business sense to take care of our people. There's enough evidence out there to substantiate the claim that when we take care of our people, the business numbers take care of themselves. So many of the organizations we see seem to get this the wrong way around. So it's also a leap of faith, a trusting to instinct. So let's get started. The first lesson for us has been that many of the things we believed when we started Alkoomi years ago have been reinforced since, and we believe still hold true today. Further, many of the things we held true in the beginning were also out there long before Alkoomi got started. What is it that Newton said? A much smarter guy than me, by the way. If I have seen further, it's by standing upon the shoulders of giants. Some of Alkoomi's giants have been people like Hertzberg, Peters, Drucker, Senge, Covey, Gardner, Tracy Goss, Heifetz, Decker, Conklin, Nancy Klein. These are just a few of the people that have helped us along the way. What we have seen is that none of these people, though, have all the answers. It's a combination of people's insights, theories, and then practical application that really makes the difference. One of the latest theories today is psychosocial safety. When you look into it, there's nothing really new there, just reconfigured. What we seem to hang on to is the latest, may I call it, fad, because we often are looking for that silver bullet. So the bad news I've got for you is that none of these fads have the whole answer. There's no silver bullet. There is a journey of new insights that open up new leadership and culture development actions. All we have to do is remain committed, caring, curious, and courageous. So first, let's talk about some of those things that we already believed when we started out. Things that have been reinforced by our experience over the years. To deliver extraordinary outcomes requires a change of organization culture. It is the existing culture that we have in our organizations that is driving the behaviors that are delivering the results we are getting, those results that we may feel, although good, are somehow dissatisfactory. Change culture requires leadership. It can't be delivered by management alone. What I mean by that are the systems, the procedures, the rules, and the reinforcing of them. We are great fans of that, but alone they can't deliver what's needed. It has to be a leadership that starts at the very top of our organization. Leaders who are committed to the future being different to what would be predictable if they don't intervene. When it comes to safety, the only commitment that makes any real sense is that simple commitment to the elimination of all injury. And that has to include mental injury caused by our experience at work. In other words, holistic care and concern for people. What doesn't seem to work is an attempt to commit to a number like 0. What also does not seem to work as well is a commitment to an ethos or a process. What works is a commitment to a future that people can see themselves in and really want to be part of. Studies have shown that organizations that commit to a numeric target like 0 do not perform as well as those organizations that commit to an outcome defined in humanistic terms. One of our clients recently declared their commitment as everyone safe and well every day. No numbers, but a clear humanistic outcome that people could see themselves in. Everyone safe and well every day. What we've also seen is that it doesn't work to focus on physical safety alone. It's about a culture that stretches out to the tips of the fingers of all the functions and locations of an organization. A culture that is consistent right across the organization in all aspects of the work that people do, not just where people are most at risk. It is a culture that impacts our relationship to what we do in our work. Whether we're cleaning welfare facilities and offices, or we're designing control systems for the most complex process plants and buildings. The culture needs to be based on a genuine care and concern for all the people employed in our enterprise. Of course, we must take on physical safety, but it needs to include people's welfare, people's mental well-being, people's personal and professional development, people's future career, including retirement, etc., etc. However, it's certainly not about wrapping people in cotton wool. It is about treating all people in the organization with dignity and respect at all times. It's about having people see the wider meaning of the work they do in the world and being recognized for their contribution. It is about taking care of people's self-esteem. It's about providing a balance of challenge and support. In many organizations, we see serious imbalances where there is plenty of challenge without the necessary support for people to be successful. It's not that we're bad, it's just that we don't see these things often. But it's this that people tell us is the main cause of the epidemic of anxiety and the resulting in mental ill health that can be caused by people's experience at their work. All right, enough for now about culture. We will be coming back to this in future talks, and we'll discuss more about the attributes of an extraordinary culture that seems to really make a difference. So let's say something now about what has been confirmed to us about leadership. Remember, it is leaders that have the biggest impact on the culture that we have in our organization. So leadership is essential. First and foremost, leadership is a being phenomena, not a doing phenomenon. What we see is that leadership can't be taught. It is a development. Sure, you can learn on courses and from books, etc., how to look like a leader. You can even learn how to sound like a leader. But when you have to remember which thing to say and which thing to do in which set of circumstances, it then becomes a matter of compliance, and dare I say, this is back to management. All very useful and sometimes powerful, but does not make the difference that's needed. Often it's not sustainable without constant reinforcement management. Leadership, to have an organization deliver extraordinary results, because that's what we're talking about, an extraordinary result here where everyone goes home safe and well every day, must be instinctive. Seeing what is needed in the moment because of something that comes from inside. Usually something inside is that deep dissatisfaction with the way the future will turn out if the leader does not intervene. When it comes to safety, sure, we'll get better at safety, and sure, that curve of statistics will come down, but there's still people getting hurt. The deep dissatisfaction might come from a new insight caused by personal experience, or from a new insight about the future which is unacceptable to the individual. I remember one of our clients back in 2007 saying he had a change in his relationship to taking care of the people and his responsibility in the matter of people's well-being and safety. He was the project director on a major infrastructure construction project in London. His insight was that if the current average safety statistics hold true, that's the average for the industry, then given the number of construction man-hours on his project, it was probable 2 people might lose their lives and many more would have life-changing injuries. He declared to the whole project organisation that this was unacceptable for him, and he could not lead a project where this was the probable outcome. He said his stand was that no one should be hurt just earning a living. He stood up and declared this to the whole organisation every time and everywhere he could. He said, we have to do things differently. And they did, and the result was quite different. Leadership is about who we are. It's a being phenomenon or doing phenomenon. There's no style of leadership that can be taught that works for everyone, everywhere. We all develop our own style. We're all wonderful, unique human beings with our own style that will work. Just think about contemporaries like Churchill and Gandhi, and if you can tell me what was even similar about their styles of leadership, well, yeah, who can deny they were not both great leaders in their time? By the way, how we know they're great leaders? Because a lot of people chose to follow them. Leadership is a choice, not a decision. In other words, extraordinary leaders do not work out how to create that new future before they commit to it. They believe in the desirability and the possibility of their new future and enroll other people to make it a reality. They know they don't have the answers. Anyone can lead. It does not rely on authority, birthright, education, or economic circumstance. Some of the most senior people I've seen in organizations were clearly not leaders. And yet, some of the people in the most junior roles in an organization show up as leaders, people others look to, for example. So let's summarize. Safety is not about physical safety, it's about holistic safety. Demonstrable care and concern for human beings in all aspects. It's about a culture of care and concern in all the corners of the organization, not just where people are physically at risk. And to develop the culture we need requires leadership. Management alone, systems and reinforcement, etc., won't deliver that. Leadership that demonstrates real commitment, care and concern for people, curiosity and courage. Over the following talks, we're going to discuss in more detail what we've learned in detail about culture and leadership. And it is really quite simple, it's just not easy. Because it requires that we change our personal relationship to the people in our organizations that we serve. A change from seeing the people as a problem to fix in some way to relating to our people as the solution. When we change our relationship, everything changes, including seeing what's possible way beyond what's probable. Look, I hope this has been insightful and a good start. And we look forward to seeing you in our future talks. And if you would like to discuss anything in the talk today or how we can help your organization, please don't hesitate to contact us either through our website or on LinkedIn. You could follow us on LinkedIn, and we often put out insights as we see them. I hope this has been useful. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Thank you.